to Recovering Your Voice. My name's Bonnie.
And I'm Carol Ann.
And I'm Colette. If you have seen our previous episode on Recovering Your Voice, Breaking the Myths about Food Banks, you've already been introduced to this wonderful group called OUICare. The kids are amazing. And through Good Neighbors Food Bank, we've seen them in action with bringing food drives in, doing spaghetti suppers that our entrance was canned goods, or even going out and buying gifts for our clients' children, especially the teens who usually get, well, let's just say overlooked. They personally would go out and pick out things that they would like to make sure these teens would like it. Today, we are honored to introduce the administrators who mentor these amazing group of kids, Madame Luce and Madame Suzanne. Take it away, ladies.
So, Liz and I have been working a long time together. So we've always been game for anything. So in 2013, well, even before 2013, we were working with the kids. Whatever they wanted to do is what we were willing to try out. We had a very dedicated group in 2013. We started with an art club, and they wanted to, I think what happened is we started talking about like how we could make a difference in this world. We watched a documentary called Revolutions, and it inspired our kids to, you know what, we kind of want to do a difference in this world. Well, Liz and I jumped on that, and it's like, okay, what do you guys want to do? And they said, well, maybe start with one project. Liz actually is the one that found the project, which was getting a therapy dog for a local girl in the valley. All of this was happening in the end of the school year. And we decided, well, you know what? These kids are so inspired. Why don't we start in the summer? We told them, what could we do? They said, well, maybe we could start collecting cans. At that time, there was also pennies. And we thought Canadian Tire money. Let's see how much we can collect over the summer to try and help this little girl get her therapy dog. I think we had set, a low bar, like, 100 cans each. The kids, of course, surpassed that. And we did a bake sale in September, and we ended up with, I think, was $1,000, just collecting cans and pennies and Canadian Tire money. So that was, for us was beyond, beyond what we expected. And we thought, you know what? Let's continue this drive and see what else we can do. Our project became twofold. We wanted to add environment also, and then we wanted to look around for local communities. And Food Bank became one of our main goals because people are in need, especially now.
One little correction, that first project, I think it found me instead of the other way around, but just that like as Suzanne said, it was really inspiring to chat with our students. There are things that we did before, like, and I look back and think, oh my, we would organize movie nights. We would go out to the theater with students, and that's how it happened. This time we were having dinner afterwards, and you couldn't see that movie without being touched by it and being inspired by it and see what you can do. So what's fun about this group is that we started it in grade 7 and 8, and it was always, you'd have new members every year. And then once the kids would move on to grade 9, well, then it went carried on to high school kids. And then I went to teach in the high school. So that way there, Suzanne and I, like she said, we've been working together for many years. We were able to continue that friendship and being colleagues to be able to continue these projects with our students. So we always had a minimum 15 to 20, but some activities you could have 50 kids, depending on, what it called for. So they were always thrilled by setting goals and then achieving that goal, and to really see how excited they were to have achieved it and being able to make a difference in the world. When you think, oh, I'm only 12 years old, what can I do? There's a lot you can do, and there's power in numbers. So that was basically our goal with this project. We never knew, if you would have asked us back then, what was going to become of it. And like the director of education a few years ago said, you guys, that it just became like a beast of its own, this whole OUICare thing. So people approach us from within. It started within our school and then within the board, but then we started getting calls from anywhere in the community that people have heard about us. We got messages from people in the Ottawa, Toronto area when they come do activities with like students. Like, let's say, for example, they were doing bagging to raise funds, raise money for different local charities, and people had heard of them and they were from out of town. So they always got a thrill out of that, and people wanted to make donations to help what they were doing.
If one of our audience would like to make a donation, could you give us contact information for where they can donate? And we'll put it in the description below.
For sure. What they can do is they can contact the school directly if they'd like. They can make a check out to École Secondaire Hanmer, and our main account is there for now. We started going wide in the last couple of years, so eventually that's going to get transferred over. We've also had people that have made a donation, like if they want to do an e-transfer, they make it out to myself, and then we'll do the paperwork to send it out to them to have a receipt for it.
I'm curious about your name and how that came about. Did you both discover that name on your own, or did you have the input from the kids? How did that happen?
That was Suzanne's idea. That came up. We were playing around with different things, and like the word care in French, like there's no direct translation really. Like, so when she came up with that and told me about it, I for sure right away that was it. So she took care of the name, and then I took care of the logo. So it was an effort that way. But Suzanne, you can go into more detail as how you came about it.
So what happened is that, we were trying to translate care, and you couldn't really get a good word for it. And you also wanted the word to be recognizable in French and in English. So the we at the beginning, is in French for yes, we can, and yes, we care. So that's how it came about.
Very clever, ladies. I love it.
I heard through the grapevine that there is like a celebration going on with OUICare because you guys hit a milestone, I guess you would call it. Anybody want to share that? Because I tell you, I was pretty excited when I heard.
So this Saturday is when we're going to hit that milestone. We're having a fundraiser at École Secondaire McDonald-Cartier, and it's a revamp of a fundraiser that we used to do years ago. We did a crop like for scrapworkers in Hanmer, and so we had one on April 1st of this year in Hanmer, which was the day of that huge storm, and our diehards still made it out there. We had hundreds of dollars worth of draw prizes. People would pay $25 for their spot at the table, and that full $25 goes to the soup kitchen. And so that's what's going on again this Saturday. We have over $1,200 worth of prizes. We're going to have draws every hour. And that's the thing. So with this day, we're going to be giving out a check to the Blue Door Soup Kitchen with money that we've collected since January. And that is going to bring us over the top of our next milestone, which was $100,000. So we're pretty excited, pretty proud of that. In less than 10 years, didn't think that that would happen, but very happy.
That is absolutely incredible, ladies. Well done. Congratulations. I'm wondering, because over that 10 years now, what has been one of the most memorable occasions or the most memorable moment maybe that you had with a student or with a ministry that you've been helping, with a charity that you've been helping? Can you give us just an idea of what it's like to walk in your shoes in OUICare?
Oh my. So we have several memories. I could think of, well, just the start, seeing how these kids were engaged and seeing that we had attained our goal and they just wanted to keep going and finding more ideas. One of them was also when we were greeting the Syrian refugees. So we raised money for that and we had made signs and we went to greet them at the airport. Um, just every time when we went to the We Day to celebrate the kids, like what they had accomplished during the year. Some of our kids were nominated and won the Governor General Award for community um, outreach. One of the years we also won, what was it? It was the Volunteer of the Year, group volunteer from the city. It just so happened that that day we were doing now I'm trying to find the word in English.
It was a silent, yeah. It's funny you're bringing up this all the same milestones. I said, okay, you got to say this, got to say this, and you're saying them at the same time. That day when we got the call from the city, they said that our group had won for the volunteer group award. And they gave us the date, and we said, oh my goodness, that's the day that we're united in silence, and that's the day that you're silent to give your voice for kids that don't have a voice, and it's an international day. So then we thought, wait a minute, we're not changing the date. Like, it works out perfectly because it's going to really highlight our cause even more. So we had a spokesperson from the school that accompanied us. We were all wearing our orange OUICare t-shirts, and they made an announcement going, they said, if you approach these people, they can't talk to you, but just so you know, there's what's going on. So it really highlighted the cause even more. It's pretty cool.
And the spokesperson was also the person that nominated us.
Oh yeah.
Another thing that I always enjoy when we're doing the things with the kids. So when we go shopping, where they get to pick out the presents for the kids. When we go out in the community to collect cans, and they're the ones that go to the door and they give them the letter, and then we come back and we go get the cans, and they're all excited when they come in the car and say, "Madame, we got 2 bags." So anything we're doing with the kids, it just like energizes us immensely.
I did find all of those newspaper articles online, so they will be in the description below, even the one that you guys couldn't talk.
It's quite an accomplishment to keep going, year after year. So what would you say is your inspiration to keep going?
I'd say, like, for myself, probably for Suzanne too, our inspiration is seeing the kids' reactions when they accomplish something and how proud they are to have been able to help someone in need.
And it's nice because they're the ones that keep it going. Like that's what I like about the fact that we now hear in the community that these kids are still helping out. So we know we've made a little difference in our little school, and now it's propagated into the community. I think like OUICare, or even just like helping out in general, that's just ingrained in us. Like, I mean, I think that's the reason we became teachers. We wanted to make a difference. We wanted to help out. So to be able to expand that to the community and also to the environment is just mind-blowing to us. It keeps us going. Like even when I retire in a couple of months, I'm still going to be helping out.
Congratulations.
Congratulations for sure. And that's what I loved about being introduced to OUICare. I mean, I love that, the reading, writing, arithmetic is being handled in the school system, but building on the character of these children and young adults. And I saw a difference when I would meet these kids. They were, they stood out. I have to be honest, they stood out. And Danielle and I would always talk about how polite they were, how helpful they were. I mean, they didn't just bring the food, they helped unload it, they helped, do everything. So very encouraged about that. Now, I must admit, Danielle went through your promo PowerPoint because I can't speak French. And he downloaded everything that you guys touched on. And we're going to put the link in the bottom below. But for those of our audience that can't speak French too, could you name a few places that you've touched or reached out to? I was very impressed how versatile every area you touched was. So if somebody would like to run off with that, that'd be great.
Okay, I'm going to try to name some off, and then Sue can add as we go. We've helped out Neo Kids. Recently, it's been Ginevra House. There's Centre Victoria pour Femmes, and those are two like outreach. They're there to help women in the community. So it always depends on what the students want to do. They're always involved. We'd have monthly meetings saying, okay, what's out there? Where is there a greater need? And also sometimes it was someone's family, like if there had been a fire somewhere, or someone had a sick child, and students would say so and so needs to go to Toronto for surgeries, let's say. Then we'd purchase gift cards to give to the family for gas to get there, kind of thing. We've also had students in need that needed glasses and had to wait a couple of months to get the glasses. And how fun was that to be able to call the optometrist and pay the bill and say, just let them know that it was taken care of. Just like things that, it could be little things, but it makes a big difference to someone, So students were always, they really wanted to help out kids. And like Suzanne mentioned, when it came to the shopping, they would have a spaghetti dinner at the school to raise funds, and all that money would go to the food bank to purchase gifts. And when the food banks receive gifts for kids, it's always for younger kids. So there was always that pocket there of the tweens, teens that they like to receive gifts as well. And for us to have that money there, the important part for the students, for them to be even more involved, is they're the ones going to do the shopping to purchase, and they're the ones that know the target audience, who they're buying for. So they always had a blast doing that kind of thing. So, and we always try to support local as well, to go to local stores. They would really think it was cool what we're doing and give us a percentage off towards what we're buying too. So that's another part of the environmental and also the community involvement for students to realize to stay local as much as you can for things like that.
So as Liz mentioned, we do help out with when it comes to medical. One of the ones that I remember also is when we had a former student of ours who his wife needed a lung transplant, and we raised money to help out with the medical bills, and I think more like because they had to stay in Toronto, so he couldn't work, so we were kind of helping with the bills. The kids really liked that one because we actually surprised them with the check. They didn't know that they were on air to receive a check. We've helped families in need, even if it was to repair a roof, to help if they had a fire and they needed, small stuff. So, yeah, when it comes to the kids, like she said, like Liz said about the glasses or anything, I mean, I'm the accountant, so she just comes and tells me, oh, you know this kid, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
My kind of accountant.
Yes.
Yeah, Suzanne always handled the financial part of it. We're both involved in different aspects, and you work with your strengths. And I've got like energy, like wow. So I'm out there doing the literally doing the legwork and out in the community, getting people involved, and then and so she would look after the 7 and 8s after a while, and I would look after the high school kids, and they would all work together towards the same goal. So that part was really cool, and it also encouraged students to stay in Hanmer for high school or draw in new kids. We had oftentimes parents would tell us that they heard about the OUICare group and they wanted their child to be more involved in the community. So that was a big draw for them.
Just springing off from when the OUICare would go shopping for the teens and preteens, you would not believe the difference it would make. I got to hand the gifts out, and I got to see the preteens and the teens and the look on their face that somebody actually went out personally to buy this for them, and that somebody cared enough and entered into their story, took the charity out and brought the heart into the matter. So I stand amazed at the difference that these kids have made, just in the little corner I saw. So I also saw that you guys did like SPCA, and yeah, you want to spring off of that one too?
I'm a huge fan of animals, and the kids are a huge fan of animals. So I think it was Liz that found online the cupcakes for SPCA. And that's how it started with the animals, is that the kids and everybody would get involved, bake some cupcakes, and we would sell them at school. You should have seen the decor on these things. I mean, I think a lot of them can become future bakers and chefs. And yeah, so that was one of the things that's how it started with the animals. This year, we're helping out Pet Save. A lot of things that they need is like blankets, like old sheets and blankets that are still good for the animals. We had one kid who was responsible for shopping. So we raised the money, and then she actually approached the kids and talked about the project, said, I want to raise money or gifts and for the kids, for the animals. And that's how it became. We put some boxes, they filled up the boxes, and then we went to deliver it in Lively.
And that's what encouraged other schools to get involved too. For the last year and a half, I'm now working at the board, and one of the reasons they hired me for that job is because of the work that we did with OUICare. Because now I look after community partnerships for the board, among other things. But it's just at least now it's part of my job, and Suzanne and I are able to keep going with this, to be able to help when it comes to, let's say, the transportation to get these students to Pet Save to go deliver these items. Because one thing throughout all the years with OUICare, we've never used any money that we've collected. Like, I don't know how to explain it. So like we didn't pay out anything. All the money that was raised always went directly to charities for whatever. So we found other ways to be able to cover the cost, like there's no overhead or anything like that.
We would beg, borrow, or steal.
Pretty much, yeah. Guilt, whatever works. But no, it always worked out. That was one thing that we proudly maintained throughout.
Yeah, we also had a lot of parent volunteers that would come and help, teachers, just community would come and help us. So we never had to use any of the money that was raised for transport or anything. All money raised was given out.
You've mentioned a couple times environment. So could you tell us some specific things that you've worked at for raising money towards that goal?
I'll cover the environmental part because that's another thing that I'm now doing at the board because of what we did with OUICare in Hanmer. So we were the first school in Sudbury when it came to hopping on board to do composting in the schools. We got our students involved. We had a whole system. When we first started, I think we had about 70 kids on a rotation that would go collect the compost in the school, and they would take turns every week, kind of thing. So now we can proudly say that every one of the schools in the Conseil Scolaire du Grand Nord in the Greater Sudbury is doing composting in their school in some way. So it's just a matter of making a difference, and like our world needs a lot of TLC, as we all know. But just to be able to think of how you can make a change. It's not just composting, because at least that it's your mindset. Just sorting your trash makes a big difference, but it's also refusing straws when you go out, or the plastic cutlery. And students are, oh, you know what I did, I did this, I did that. Or you bring your own cup when you go somewhere, just to change the way we do things. So that's been a big help. And that too, we get local partnerships involved. We have draws for students that have like a lunch that has no waste in it. So you walk in the caf and then they see you coming and, oh, madame, and they're showing me their fork that they have or their little containers. And it's just fun that they see you and they think of that automatically. So that means you've done your job to make them aware of these things too.
Just to add to that, we also had workshops where we repurpose T-shirts into bags. So it's not only the reduce, but it's also reuse. So we're trying to touch all 3 R's.
This reminds me too, Suzanne, when we first started this environmental project, our principal at the time approached Suzanne so that she could talk some sense into me to maybe not do this, then it's going to be more of a headache than anything else. And I think she mentioned it in passing, but she knew it was pretty much a done deal and that we were going to figure it out somehow, and we did.
Well, I guess you did a really good job, because my husband, who was the janitor at that school, just got an award of a mug because he had nothing. It was, everything was reusable in his lunch pail. So he just brought it home yesterday. So
there you go.
Well done, guys.
You were talking, Suzanne, about retiring soon. Congratulations. And possibly you partly answered this, Luce, with the fact that you are working with this at the board level. I'm just wondering about succession planning. When you go, Suzanne, does someone take over the job, or does the principal of the day persuade the next group, oh, it's too much trouble? How does that go?
So we have teachers that are dedicated here as well. And I think the kids are actually going to motivate the teachers into doing more for the environment and doing more for the community, because we got to keep this going. The kids are our future. The kids know what they want, and they're able to do a lot of persuading when it comes to what they want. So I've got my fingers crossed. I'm pretty sure that we have dedicated teachers and we have dedicated kids that are going to be able to continue. And Liz is going to be at the board still, so she's going to be able to canvas and recruit.
With some arms, whatever. Yeah. But like I'm very confident that Sue is going to stay involved and to help out with at least the financial aspect, but she still does so much more than that. And we also have a couple other teachers lined up that are interested in taking over. And it's always the people that are the busiest, that have young kids, that are in sports, whatever, they're the ones that can handle it because they can juggle it all, right? So they're happily going to get involved as long as they know that we're still there to help out. So I've got 2-3 more years to go to be able to make the transition there. And Sue and I are going to have some meetings. We've already started a little bit with the school board itself to try to make a smooth transition and keep this going, because that's our baby,
Yes.
I pretty well believe that your reputation went before you, because am I correct in thinking, wasn't there a mini OUICare also?
Yes, there was a teacher in grade 2 at the school next door that was interested in getting something started. So it provided an opportunity for our students to be mentor for these kids. So they really enjoyed it. And some of them had, an older brother in grade 7 and 8. So they had this mix with the grade 2 kids. And then when she came over to the high school, this teacher, she came over to teach at our high school, the environmental part of it kept going at Foyer Jeunesse as well. So there's that real work between the schools, and that's been highlighted. And there have been a couple documentaries filmed about OUICare and their involvement with the environment, where they would do all the composting on the elementary side of the school, and we had this big cart. They would leave all the bags on the cart, and then the older kids would come in, grab the cart, and bring it all outside. It was just like a well-oiled machine. We had it all figured out. So it's nice to be able to keep things going that way.
One thing that we didn't mention also that's in the documentary is our kids volunteering at the soup kitchen. So the kids really love going to the soup kitchen. I think some people wanted to go every month, and we said, well, we got to give a chance to everybody else to do it. So that's one thing that they like, to be in the community and to see that, they have this stigma of who goes to the soup kitchen. And it really changed their mind when they saw that, no, these are people in need. That just don't have enough money when it comes to, they might have houses, they might have a phone, they might have everything else, but they just don't have enough at the end of the day for food.
This leads to another project that we have at the board, is experimental learning. So the kids, everything that's outside of what you would normally do in the classroom. So what we do with this one, we have some tourism classes where students do baking or different items that they can get going. So we have the funds to be able to provide ingredients for them, and they make desserts. And just this past week, they went to the soup kitchen to serve the desserts that they had actually made. And we're going back again in 2 weeks with a different group of students. So how much more experimental can you get by that? You're really going from one step to fulfilling it right till the end, and to be able to see the change that you're able to make in your community.
So OUICare is 10 years old now, is it?
Almost, in June, yes.
10 years old. So do you have any students from the beginning who are now on track to become teachers and possibly get into similar positions of influence on students? Do you know of any?
So I know one student is actually in social work, because she wanted to continue that type of work.
That's amazing. And I can see where the children have been impacted. It started out with a desire to impact the community, but I can see where you really had an impact on your students, and they will be the ones who will, as you've said, they will motivate their teachers, they will motivate the community, and we will gradually see the change that we need to see. And they will reverse mentor older people like us who need to learn the refuse the straws and bring your own cups and things like that. So thank you both so much for everything that you have done.
So we have a few of our audience that are very mission minded and go Cuba, Haiti. So we want to share about how OUICare even reached to Haiti.
For us, the missions in Haiti, that was organized through the We Charities, and of course, like there's been a lot of talk over the years that a lot of things fell through with their projects, but the bottom line, there's a lot of good that came of that, and our students were very motivated by the resources that they offered in the schools, and also to be able to be more aware of how important water is and how lucky we are to have water. So that was one thing. They could choose which community they wanted to help, and they would raise funds for people to have wells, like you said, in Haiti. That's something that was decided during our meetings. They had different options, and they would hear things in the news when it came to if there was like an earthquake or different things that affected these people, is one thing after another. And you're just the resilience that these people showed. You want to be able to do something to be able to help them. So that's where that came about.
So to add to that, we always had a twofold part to OUICare. It's you help your local community, and then if you have also international issues that we could deal with. So I still teach the kids that not every kid has a voice. They don't have the rights, they don't have an identity, access to water, food, protection, and we still work on what we can do. And what the kids usually do is they give up their voice to show, for one day, to show that we support. And
to add to that, we've had some direct contact with people, like Sue said. Have been some Syrian families that have come to Canada, to Sudbury, that we've helped out, but also I'd say it's probably at least 5-6 years ago now, we received an email from a principal from a different school that said that there was a family, just a mother-daughter, immigrating to Canada that pretty much had nothing. And they had a list of specific items that they wanted to collect in order to be able to set them up in their apartment when they were moving here. So when we received that list, we talked about it. So of course, this is right up our alley. We're going to do something about it, but we'll give people a chance first to contribute different items they have. And then we said, whatever's left on the list, we'll just donate the rest with OUICare funds that we've collected. So we did that. We went to drop them off at the principal's house. And this was all done anonymously, given to this family. And then a few months later, during the summer, I was volunteering at the soup kitchen and meet this woman that was volunteering there. And then we started talking. We were talking in English. Her English was a little shaky at first, and then she told me that she was a student at Boreal. And so then I said, "Oh, you speak French?" So we started speaking in French, kind of thing. And then she was all, talking 100 miles an hour, and that because that's what we do in French. And then she told me about her story a little bit, and then it's all started coming together. That sounded a little bit familiar. So then she told me that her school had helped and brought items over, and I started naming a few items, and she was like, "What?" how do you know this stuff kind of thing. So told her about our group and gave her my card that day. And it was just, it's like she lives around the corner from my parents. My parents have become like her parents as well. Like I'm like the aunt to her daughter, and just to be able to share what this family went through. And when I talk to our students about it, how much, oh no, I got to go to school and stuff, but they had to escape, be hidden in an airport, had to know someone to be able to leave there, and how like these young girls are sent off to be married at a young age. And it really hit home for our students that they were able to help somebody directly. Like you can watch documentaries, you can, hear stories about certain family situations, but when it's someone in your community, and it just highlights these things. And also it can be something else. It could be poverty, it could be sickness, whatever, like just for the students to know. You never know if that student sitting next to you in class is directly affected by this. When we raise money, usually it's like for baskets, I have food items at Christmas time, but it's not only at Christmas time. Like we go, because people know that OUICare is there, they'll discreetly mention it to us, and we can help out these families, and people are none the wiser, but it's just, you never know if that's the kid that you're helping. And between Suzanne and I as well, like if someone would tell me something, I would tell her, okay, so a family, I never even had to give her names, and same with her. It's like, okay, this family needs this, here's how we're going to go about it. And we did. Like there was no more information than that shared, that we didn't need anymore. It was just, what can we do to help?
I understand being sensitive in that situation. When we used to do the tours for the food bank, Good Neighbors Food Bank, we made sure it was not on a food bank day, because of that exact situation, that sometimes you run into people, that are there. So we were honoring students, and I understand that compassion behind your heart. Were you doing it through the Elgin Street or the Blue Door when you would go and hand out personal hygiene packs?
For us, our link has always been with the soup kitchen, just for the fact that they serve lunches there, and the mission serves breakfast and dinner. So when we go in with students, that's what works into the daytime schedule for students. So when we have them out there, we still send students a couple times a month, whether it be from McDonald-Cartier or from Hanmer. They'll show up about 8:30, 9 o'clock and do food prep. And then the doors open at 11 to serve the meals. So they'll serve meals until 1:30 when they need to get back to school. So it just worked out that way. And then in the summertime, because it's not just something that we do during school hours, like it could be March break or during the summer. Like in the summer, what we do is say, okay, we'll look after, give us a day where you really need people. So like, let's say every Thursday they need volunteers. Well, we'll look after Thursdays. So we'll put it on our Facebook page. Here's our calendar, and we're looking for volunteers for those days. So we go and share the information and fill up that calendar day for them, just to relieve some of the stress of having to find people, especially when they're on holidays and stuff. So we've been going there for many, many years. You get to know the clients, and we always have our favorites too. The kids like, oh, they're so and so, madame, and they know. So it's something personal for them. And like Suzanne said, that you're much more sympathetic, or to show empathy towards people. There's a lot of different stories that lead them there. So it's really special for them.
I just wanted to add to what Luce was saying, that this is not a project of 10 months. It's year round. If you come to my door at my house, you will notice that there are a lot of cans because people drop off their cans at my place. We also collect steel, any type of recyclable, but um, not fridges, but let's say
anything
like
you can plug in. It could be an old hair dryer, microwave, whatever. It gets recycled. And people just, whenever they clean, spring cleaning, whatever, they'll call us. I have garage codes. People say, okay, pick this up in my garage. Would it be the empties or electronics that they have? So yeah, and Suzanne graciously stores that. She's that neighbor that has that in her yard.
You both must have very understanding families or husbands or whatever to be able to do all this. They're probably part of it as well.
So yes, my husband has the vehicle, he has the truck, and we go around. If people cannot bring it to us, we go pick it up for them. And my husband will sometimes go to the recycling bin because he likes to sort out the things because you get more money that way. If I go, well, they'll say, well, everything goes in tin. So he graciously sorts out everything, puts it, and then he goes and gets the money. Yes, our parents are involved. I have neighbors. I have, when we used to go camping, I would put a sign up and asking for cans, and people would come and drop it off at the campsite. We're still trying to work on our parents to see if we can get them to do a little bit more composting. But so the kids are very easy to, they're gun ho about anything we suggest. It's the older generation. We're still trying to work on them when it comes to the environment.
They call us one of those.
Yes.
And for my husband as well, he'll go, oh, somebody dropped off some items for you. There's always stuff left beside the garage, and he knows the drill. Just bring it in and we'll sort it out. And then if things need to be dropped off at the soup kitchen or wherever, like he's been retired for 2 years, so he gets that task as well. So
is there any closing remarks you'd like to share with our audience? Anything you would like for them to know that we haven't touched on?
I think we've pretty much touched on most items, but just the general message is that anybody can make a difference, and just to get out there and get involved. We have a lot of friends that are interested in doing things and don't know where to start. And they don't want to take the lead on things. So that's where we come in. We weren't like that as much. Like you develop those skills along the way. But just for us, it's important just that people just keep saying, okay, yeah, I want to do this. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to do everything, but every little contribution helps. Whatever you can do, it's all appreciated, and it really does make a difference.
There is a niche for everyone. So anything that they want to do, they start small, and you realize that it has a big impact in the end.
I want to express how thankful we are that you came on the show today and shared. I love to brag on OUICare everywhere I go. So it's wonderful that we will have links below so people can check out articles, and your PowerPoint presentation was really amazing, really thorough, and gave it a really good overview of everything you've touched. I was just going, wow, when I was reading everywhere you touched. So, wow. Guys, you're making an awesome difference, and your mentoring to this generation coming up gives me hope. Gives me hope.
We need hope. Yes. And just want to take a second, Colette, for you over the years, you've always been one of those people that continue to get involved. So we appreciate everything that you've done.
Wow, that touched my heart. Thank you. Thank you. Take a few takes because I'm not good at following scripts, people.
Here's my partner in crime.
Technology is great when it works, right?
Exactly. I had to run around and look for some
Headphones or
yeah. So these are gaming from a student.
Ooh.
Ooh, that you got them
it.
hey, that they length them is impressive enough. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she gave them a choice.
Oh no, they did it willingly.
There you go. There you go.
it's
You want to expound on that a bit? The blender?
No, blender, my blender.
Oh my gosh, that's just my daily walk. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
God was teaching me a lesson.
Oh, you think that was an object lesson of, geez, Bonnie, here's something.
Bonnie. Stop saying I'm sorry. Stop apologizing.
That was Carol Ann, but it sure sounded like me. Okay. It's not that bad, guys. Shake it off. Shake it
off. Okay, so I'll start. Do I have to do the bibbidi boppity boop or?
Yeah, you just did.
Bip.
Congratulations, ladies.
Oh,
I'm just amazed. Like, you're sending ambassadors out over 10 years now. You've sent all these ambassadors, and just imagine now they're impacting and changing the world around them too. So you should be congratulated. Well done.